Picture this, a bull elk 600 yards out, standing broadside in the last light of a Montana evening. Your hands are steady, your breathing is controlled, and the rifle on your shoulder has never once let you down. That is not luck. That is what happens when over 150 years of American gunmaking gets poured into a single trigger pull. Winchester, the name that won the West, the name that fed families through the Great Depression, the name that serious hunters still trust when the moment of truth arrives and there is absolutely no room for failure. But here is the hard truth most guys will not tell you. Not every rifle wearing that gold medallion is built for your hunt. Some are built for the mountains. Some are built for the long glass. Some are built to be handed down to your son and his son after that. So I went through the entire 2026 Winchester lineup, stripped it down to the bones, and ranked the 7 best hunting rifles they make right now. No fluff, no sponsorships, just the raw truth about which Winchester belongs in your hands and which ones you can walk right past. Stay locked in, because by the time we hit number 1, you are going to wonder how you ever hunted without it. Moving on to kick things off at the bottom of our list, and do not let the number fool you. Number 7 is not here because it is weak. It is here because it plays a completely different game than everything above it. The Winchester Ranger High-Grade Nickel is a .22 long rifle lever action. And before you click away, hear me out. This thing is built like a gentleman's carry and a working hunter's tool rolled into one package. The receiver is precision machined alloy, hand polished to a mirror finish, then plated in nickel so deep and so clean, it looks like something you would find locked in a vault, not leaning against a truck tailgate. That contrast between the bright nickel metal and the dark grade 2 walnut stock is genuinely striking. Old school American gorgeous. Under the hood, the lever mechanism has been tuned specifically for a featherlight operating force. What that means in the field is simple. You cycle that lever without breaking your cheek weld, without losing your sight picture, without giving that squirrel or rabbit a half-second window to disappear into the brush. Follow-up shots happen fast, clean, controlled. The tube magazine holds 15 rounds of .22 long rifle, so you are not stopping to reload in the middle of the action. Now here is the mechanic's insight on this one. That 20-inch chromoly barrel uses button rifling and a recessed target crown at the muzzle. Here is why that matters. .22 long rifle ammunition runs at subsonic or barely transonic speeds. At those velocities, any disturbance in how the propellant gas escapes around the base of the bullet at the muzzle crown will immediately destabilize the projectile's flight path. The recessed crown protects those delicate rifling edges from dings and chips and ensures that gas exits in a perfectly symmetrical ring around the bullet base every single time. On a rimfire, that detail is the difference between a rifle that shoots 1-inch groups at 50 yards and one that sprays. The single screw takedown feature is the real surprise here. One screw, the rifle splits what's into 2 clean halves. Drop it in a day pack, and you are hunting small game in terrain where a full-size centerfire would be a burden. It also means you run a cleaning rod from the chamber end to the muzzle, the correct direction, protecting those rifling edges for the life of the rifle. The deal breaker? The gloss blued barrel finish on the nickel receiver looks stunning on day 1. But gloss blue and field use have a complicated relationship. The first time this rifle slides across a rock ledge or gets dragged through wet brush, that barrel finish is going to show it. The nickel receiver will shrug it off. The barrel will remember every scratch. If cosmetic longevity matters to you, budget for a good rust preventive oil and wipe it down religiously. Street price sits right at $649.99. For a lever action rimfire built to this standard, that is an honest deal. This is solid small game craftsmanship with real heirloom quality behind it. But wait until you see the monster at number 1. Stepping up the game to number 6, we're looking at the Winchester XPR Hunter. This blue-collar workhorse eats 300 Winchester Magnum for breakfast and tips the scales at a highly mobile 7¼ pounds. It is a brutal, no-nonsense tool built specifically to take a savage beating in the worst environments imaginable. Wrapped in true timber strata camouflage, the polymer stock breaks up your outline so well it practically vanishes in the dense brush. Under the hood, the real magic happens at the rear of the stock with the Inflex Technology recoil pad. This is not just a cheap chunk of rubber. It features heavily engineered internal rib structures that are designed to collapse directionally when the rifle fires. As those ribs compress under pressure, the pad actively pulls the comb of the stock down and away from your cheekbone, drastically neutralizing the felt recoil of heavy magnum rounds and completely eliminating the risk of scope bite. I know the wood and steel purists will probably hate this, but composite materials absolutely outwork traditional setups when the sky opens up and the mud gets deep. Sound off below in the comments if you trust a modern synthetic rig over a safe queen in the backcountry. When you lock onto your target, the trigger breaks crisp like stepping on thin winter ice, and that heavy magnum kick is reduced to a dull, manageable shove against your shoulder. But let us be completely honest. That polymer stock is a double-edged sword and presents a noticeable aesthetic flaw. While it is virtually indestructible, the hollow forend feels undeniably cheap and plasticky in your hands. It completely lacks that dense, premium resonance you get from heavy laminate or hand-laid fiberglass, which can be a massive turn-off if you are particular about the tactile feedback of your weapon. Still, the steel receiver and free-floating button-rifled barrel are wrapped in a flat, dark earth permacoat finish that simply laughs off rust and corrosive grime. For a street price starting around $570, this rig delivers sub-minute of angle terminal performance without draining your bank account. Now we get serious with number 5, the Winchester XPR Thumbhole Varmint SR. This rig is an absolute beast for predator control. But I am telling you, wait until you see the monster sitting at number 1. Tipping the scales at a hefty 8 pounds flat, it feeds on blazing fast calibers like .243 Winchester and 6.5 PRC. The gray laminate thumbhole stock locks your shooting hand into a completely natural firing position, significantly reducing muscle fatigue when you are staring through the glass for hours on end waiting for a coyote to show up. Looking under the hood, the secret to its surgical precision is the high-density laminate construction. Unlike natural solid wood that breathes and shifts with the weather, this stock is built by compressing thin layers of wood under extreme heat and infusing them with synthetic resin. Why does that matter? Because it creates a completely rigid, inert platform that is immune to warping from humidity or temperature swings, ensuring your barrel remains truly free-floating so your point of impact never drifts. When you finally take the shot, the trigger breaks like snapping a brittle icicle, and the heavy laminate profile soaks up the recoil into a slow, rolling push. But let us get real about the downside. The ergonomics are a complete deal breaker if you shoot left-handed or need to transition shoulders in a hurry, because the grip and raised cheekpiece are heavily contoured specifically for a right-handed shooter. Swapping sides makes the rifle feel incredibly awkward and unbalanced. It is a highly specialized design that completely punishes ambidextrous operation when a target suddenly flanks your blind side. Despite that clumsy handling quirk, the SR in the name stands for suppressor ready. The 24-inch matte blued barrel comes threaded straight from the factory, so you can easily run a silencer and mask your acoustic signature, setting you back around $700. This platform delivers devastating terminal performance on small targets at ridiculous distances. Rank 5 is ready. Shall I proceed to rank 4? Pushing the boundaries of distance at number 4, we have the Winchester XPR Renegade Long Range SR. Tipping the scales at a hefty 8.5 pounds unloaded, this precision instrument slings 6.5 Creedmoor and 300 Winchester Short Magnum downrange with absolute authority. Wrapped in a Graybow composite stock featuring a vertical pistol grip, it forces your hand into the exact perfect geometry for prone shooting. When you squeeze that trigger, the break is sudden and sharp like snapping a dry twig, and the heavy profile of the rifle soaks up the blast so the recoil just feels like a dull thud against your shoulder. Diving into the mechanics, the real tactical advantage here is the massive 3-lug bolt featuring a short 6-degree lift. Why does that matter? Traditional 2-lug actions require a full 90-degree throw, which often causes your knuckles to slam violently into the oversized ocular bell of modern long-range optics. That short 60-degree rotation gives you massive clearance, allowing you to cycle the action lightning fast and rack another round without taking your eye off the target or smashing your hand. But here is the undeniable catch regarding your budget. The damage to your wallet is roughly $1,100, which is a massive premium for a platform built around the budget-friendly push-feed XPR action. You are essentially paying top dollar strictly for the Graybow stock, and that steep entry fee might easily drain your wallet before you even start looking at high-end glass and match-grade ammunition. Still, that solid steel receiver and button rifle barrel come coated in a rugged matte black perma-coat finish that handles the elements like a champion. The muzzle is threaded at 5/8 by 24, making it completely ready to accept a heavy suppressor right out of the box to mask your signature. If you demand sub-minute of angle impacts at 1,000 yards, this heavy hitter absolutely delivers the goods. Entering the elite tier at number 3, we have the Winchester Model 70 Extreme Weather SS, hovering right around 7 pounds unloaded. This rugged backcountry survivor is chambered to run 300 Winchester Magnum and 308 Winchester. It is engineered specifically for the hardcore outdoorsman who spends days getting beaten down by freezing rain and high alpine storms. The Bell & Carlson layup composite stock is coated in a charcoal gray matte finish that provides massive traction when your gear is soaked and freezing. Diving into the architecture, the real tactical advantage here is the full-length aluminum bedding block permanently molded inside that synthetic stock. Why does that matter? Because unlike a traditional wooden stock that swells the second it gets wet, this inert composite structure and rigid aluminum backbone provide a completely stress-free interface for the receiver. That guarantees absolute zero retention, ensuring your point of impact never shifts regardless of extreme temperature swings or nasty barometric pressure drops. When you finally get eyes on a heavy bull, the trigger breaks flawlessly like shattering a thin sheet of ice, and the recoil kicks back with the blunt force of a pissed-off mule. That legendary pre-64 controlled round feed action uses a massive claw extractor to grip the cartridge rim tight, feeding smoothly no matter what awkward angle you are shooting from. The stainless steel receiver and free-floating fluted barrel are blasted with a dull matte finish to completely kill any harsh glare from the sun. But let us talk about the ugly side, and it comes down to the aggressive texturing on that exact same stock. While it grips like super glue in a downpour, that coarse surface feels exactly like rough grit sandpaper rubbing against your body. If you have this slung across your shoulder for 20 miles, it will absolutely shred your expensive waterproof clothing and chew right through your bare hands. If you can handle the abrasive texture, expect to hand over roughly $1,300 for a bulletproof rig that absolutely refuses to quit. Closer to the crown at number 2, we have the Winchester Model 70 Super Grade AAA Claro. Tipping the scales right around 8 pounds and 4 ounces, this absolute museum piece is chambered to throw massive rounds like 300 Winchester Magnum and 7mm Remington Magnum. It is built strictly for the hardcore sportsman heading out on that once-in-a-lifetime expedition where equipment failure is not an option. Wrapped in stunning AAA grade Claro walnut, the deep amber and dark brown wood grain is locked underneath a heavy gloss finish that shines like a liquid mirror. Diving into the mechanics, the real technical masterpiece here is the blade-type controlled ejection system. Why does that matter? Most modern rifles use a spring-loaded plunger that violently kicks your brass out the second it clears the chamber. But with this pre-64 style action, you completely dictate the ejection force. If you ease the bolt back slowly, the empty casing drops politely right into your palm so you can save that expensive Magnum brass for reloading. But if you aggressively rip that bolt rearward under stress, it throws the spent casing clear across the dirt, guaranteeing a clean port for your next follow-up shot. When you settle your face against that contoured shadowline cheek piece, your eye perfectly aligns with the optic. You squeeze, and the trigger gives way like snapping a crisp diamond in half, while that massive 8-pound physical weight absorbs the violent Magnum blast into a heavy, rolling wave against your shoulder. But let us have a reality check about the glaring deal breaker. That breathtaking aesthetic is exactly its biggest liability out in the wild. That high gloss finish on the Claro wood and the deep polished bluing on the steel will catch the sunlight and flash like a mirror from a mile away, instantly blowing your cover and spooking every wary animal in the valley. Not to mention, you are going to be absolutely terrified to drag a rifle that looks like a priceless piece of art through nasty rocks and thick briar patches. If you can handle the anxiety of scratching it, the asking price sits right around $2,300. Taking the absolute throne at number 1, we have the Winchester Model 70 Featherweight AA French. Listen, this is the undisputed king of the woods because it delivers the breathtaking classic wood aesthetics of the number 2 Super Grade without that blinding mirror finish, while offering the devastating accuracy of the number 4 Renegade in a much lighter, more mobile package. Tipping the scales right around 6 pounds and 12 ounces, this legendary hunting tool eats heavy-hitting calibers like 6.8 Western and 243 Winchester for breakfast. The AA grade French walnut stock is locked under a subdued satin finish, meaning those inevitable scratches and dings from heavy field use just add rugged character instead of ruining a museum piece. Up front, you get that iconic Schnabel foreign geometry. Why does that matter? That slender, downward curved tip drastically cuts physical mass from the muzzle end, physically pulling the exact center of gravity back toward the chamber. That specialized balance point allows the rifle to point lightning fast and hold incredibly steady during offhand shots when a massive whitetail suddenly steps out of the thick brush. Under the hood, the true mechanical advantage lies inside the proprietary MOA trigger system. Instead of a standard direct sear layout, it utilizes a highly refined 3-lever mechanical linkage that completely zeroes out free slack and rearward creep. This architecture guarantees your finger only feels the actual break point, eliminating any over travel, so your crosshairs never jerk off target during the exact millisecond the primer ignites. When you finally apply pressure, the trigger gives way like snapping a brittle glass rod in half, and the recoil rolls straight back into a firm, authoritative shove against your shoulder. Cycling the bolt is an absolute dream when the pressure is on. That legendary pre-64 controlled round feed action uses a massive claw to hold the cartridge securely from the magazine all the way into the chamber, entirely preventing the risk of a catastrophic double feed under massive adrenaline stress. Depending on your caliber, you get a 22 or 24-inch barrel dialed in for maximum terminal performance. The damage to your wallet sits right around $1,800, making it the ultimate lifetime investment for any serious sportsman who demands absolute perfection. 7 rifles, 1 list, and if you have made it this far, you already know more about Winchester's 2026 lineup than 90% of the hunters who will walk into a gun store this season and just point at whatever is on the wall behind the counter. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Winchester is not coasting on 150 years of reputation. They are earning it again in 2026. From the budget-friendly workhorse of the XPR Hunter, all the way up to the crown jewel Featherweight AA French. Every single platform on this list represents a deliberate engineering decision backed by decades of field-proven mechanical thinking. The right rifle on this list is not the most expensive one. It is not the one with the most features. It is the one that matches your hunt, your terrain, your game, and your body. Get that match right, and Winchester will not let you down when the moment arrives. Now look, I know some of you are sitting there with a different opinion about that #1 spot. Maybe you think the Super Grade deserved the throne. Maybe you think the Extreme Weather SS is the more practical choice for the way you hunt. That is a conversation worth having. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me which Winchester you are running this season and why. I read every single one, and if this breakdown gave you something real, something you can actually use the next time you are standing in front of a gun counter making a decision that matters, then do one thing for me. Hit that subscribe button, because this channel exists for one reason only: to give you the raw truth about the gear that keeps you effective and keeps you safe in the field. No fluff, no paid placements, no manufacturer talking points dressed up as reviews. Just this: train hard, stay safe, and I will see you downrange.